Hello and welcome. It is I, your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM, with another OGGM adventure slash informative slash I got nothing else to do with my time but talk to you slash thing. And today is July 24th, which means, amongst other things, it is National Tequila Day, my new favorite holiday. But more important, tomorrow is July 25th, and tomorrow is Free RPG Day. What the fuck is Free RPG Day? Well, in order to understand Free RPG Day, we have to understand Free Comic Book Day, which is a hundreds and hundreds of years old tradition. I mean, literally, the dinosaurs were celebrating this, where various comic book providers like DC, Marvel, Image, Boom, Steve's Comic Books and Bait Shop, whatever, would make free samplers of their product available to comic book shops like Endgame, Arsenal, fuck you, Arsenal, CES Games and Anime, NCRP, and you get these stacks. Some of them would be like kid comics, like Casper and Disney and whatever. Some of them would be, typical comics like Spider-Man, Batman, Ghostbusters, and some of them would be more adult themed like Cthulhu and Kids on Bikes and my life as a zucchini. And then some of them would be like the X-rated crap, like Tarot, which of the, Black Rose or whatever. But you get these samplers that they would send out to the various comic book stores to give away. And, there'd be like stuff like that. So from that, game retailers decided, hey, let's do the same thing. Let's have a day where we send out buckets loads of free stuff to the game stores. Except the game stores have to buy it from us. So that's the first thing, is that the product has to be purchased from the suppliers. And they're very small packs. And very few game stores actually do this because they have to pay for the stuff, and when they get the stuff, there's not a lot of it. So let me give you an example. I've got a list of everything that's going to be available tomorrow for Free RPG Day, assuming you can find a RPG shop that is open. How nice that they're charging shops, even though the shops may not be open. So, and the reason I kind of I'm maybe a little negative on this is because A, they charge, and B, there's so little product per pack. So very rarely have I seen a shop do this because it's not cost effective to the shop to get this small stuff of RPG stuff unless they turn around and resell it at price later on. So here's what you would get this year for Free RPG Day for one kit. You would get from 9th Level Games, Level 1 Anthology of Indie RPG Games, 15 copies, so that's a couple 1-2 page RPGs in an anthology. From Crucible 7, you'd get 7 copies of Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. This would be a print, order to print copy, not the hardback copy, because the hardback, it's not coffee, it's like $70. Dave Taylor Miniatures is making a how to paint library, 7 copies of that. Fantasy Games is having a starter 11 copies of their Keyforge magic thingy that they did. So there will be 7 starter packs, 11 starter packs of that. Gatekeeper Games is sending 3 sets of their dice. Here's the big one, Dungeon Crawl Classics from Goodman Games, 7 copies of the rare hardback Dungeon Crawl Classic RPG with the skull. So right there, that's the prize. If you could find a copy of that, because that's like a $90 game that they're giving away. 7 copies are free. From Hit Point Press, we have something called Humblewood, 3 copies of that. For Magpie Games, we have 7 copies of the Junior Root RPG. From Oni Games, we have 7 copies of the Junior Braves RPG. From Pazio, we have the Pathfinder RPG 2nd Edition Starter Set, 15 copies. That's nice. And we also have the Starfinder, 15 copies of the Starfinder RPG Starter Intro thing. Again, that's kind of nice. That's not bad. From Q Workshop Games, We've got 3 sets of dice from Renegade Games. We have 7 copies of Kids on Bikes, an amazing role-playing game, and 7 copies of Overlight, which is just sort of a fucking weird game. We have 12 copies of a subscription promo from Roll20. So it's like a key that you can type in to go onto Roll20 and get a prescription for cheap. And from Wid Kids, they have 1 Warlock tile exclusive item per pack. So that's like a terrain thing with like, you know, skulls and squigglies and it's whatever. So that's everything that you get in one set. So it's 125 items from 14 different retailers. And how much would that cost me if I was a retailer and wanted to buy this? It would cost me $300 to get 3 standard kits. So there's $100 per kit. And for each kit, I get 125 items from 14 different games. I get 15 copies of Anthology, 7 copies of Warhammer, 7 copies of How to Paint, 11 copies of the Keyforge starter, 3 dice, so obviously, you know, those are going to my employees, 7 copies of Dungeon Crawl Classics hardback. That's the key, that's the prize, that's the big thing right there. But, you know, as a store owner, to make my $100 back, I'm probably going to resell that. 3 copies of Humblewood, 7 copies of Root RPG, which is a anthropomorphic mice quest type game, which is getting good press. Junior Brave, 7 copies, 15 copies of the Pathfinder, and 15 copies of the Starfinder starter intro thing. Again, that's pretty good. 3 more dice. Again, you know, I'd give those to my employees or make them prizes. 7 copies of Kids on Bikes. That's a pretty good one. 7 copies of Overlight. The only way they're ever going to get rid of Overlight is if they make it for free. 12 copies of the promo and 1 of the Warlock tiles. So again, you know, I'd make that a prize or whatever. So $100 for each of those, $300 for a pack. Assuming I get rid of every one of those and everybody who comes in for free RPG day buys at least one thing, maybe I break even, especially if I am sneaky and resell the free RPG day Dungeon Crawl Classic, which you're probably not supposed to do, but we all know stores do it, of Dungeon Crawl Classic, because that's like a $90 thing right there, and it's a limited edition with the black skull cover. So that's, you know, yeah. Is it worth the $300? In the past years, it hasn't been. This year is actually kind of some nice stuff. I'd almost say that if I was a game store and if I was open and if I had the foot traffic, I might invest, because the Pathfinder, the Starfinder, the Dungeon Crawl Classic, and the Kids on Bikes are all kind of worth it. Plus, I know it comes with a t-shirt. The dice I'd give to my employees or make prizes. The Warlock tile, I'd make a prize, or, you know, I'd resell, because otherwise what am I going to do with one fucking tile? The other ones, they're, you know, freebies. So, you know, they're good things to get people into the store, get interested in the games, see games that maybe aren't just D&D. Notice that Wizards of the Coast doesn't have anything on there except for their 1 tile. Interesting. Nothing for 5th. But Paizio's like, here's a free copy of Pathfinder. Here's a free copy of Starfinder. Support us. Interesting. So yeah. Now, can you find a shop that is doing it, that is actually open during the COVID, where you could actually go in, pick up this free stuff, and then support them by buying, you know, 1 or 2 things? Because really, it's only fair to them because they're giving you like $100 worth of free shit. If you go and buy at least a thing of dice, you know. So let's check. Click here for participating store near you. Oh, so let's enter my city, Ventura, California, and look up. And the nearest store to me that is doing this is in Westlake Village. So called Game Ogre. Assuming Game Ogre is actually open, let's go to their website. And are they open during the COVID? It looks like they are open during the COVID. So yeah, so that's the closest to me. So if you go to the Free RPG Day role-playing site, it's freerpgaday.com, and enter the gamers. Where can I find something that's doing this? You can check to see if there's a store in your area tomorrow doing Free RPG Day. Definitely, of the packs I've seen, this one is actually more worth it than some in the past. So if I was a retailer and knew I had the foot traffic to support it, I'd do it. I can see why stores in smaller towns who don't have a lot of foot traffic don't do it, because it's $300, and if you're not going to make that back in any way, shape, or form tomorrow, then it's not really worth it. Unlike Free Comic Day, which usually has a huge amount of foot traffic and definitely will pay for itself, because whoever is going in and getting the free stuff usually walks out with something, or asks about, hey, my kid's really into Spider-Man, and then they make $20 off a graphic novel, or somebody buys a pop or whatever. So usually the foot traffic of Free Comic Day makes it worth the retailer to invest in Free Comic Book Day. But unless you're a game store that's getting a lot of foot traffic tomorrow, I could see why game stores don't invest, because it's $300 for 3 packs of 125 items each, and either I get rid of them, which is great, or I don't get rid of them, and then I'm stuck with them, and then I have to either put them on eBay or resell them, or just slowly give them away over the year. So yeah, there's a couple things on that list I'd actually want. I don't need dice. I don't really need a Pathfinder or Start, but the Kids on Bikes. So yeah, so that is what Free RPGA Day is. It's a bunch of retailers trying to get people to come into game stores and trying to show you new product or older product, or get you reinterested in product, blah, blah, blah. If you have a game store in your area that's supporting it and doing it, go get a whole bunch of free crap and then spend some money there and thank them for being open during COVID-19. And I will talk to you hungry gamers later.